Let's start our service by standing and singing Surely in Presence.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Remain standing for our mission statement. We welcome all as we create loving community, teach universal truths, practice spiritual principles, and live life abundantly. And our vision prayer. Together, we acknowledge the universe's safe guiding leading into the future. We release all resistance to change, letting go of what was, embracing the new. We believe that the harmonizing power of love is showing us a way to navigate transition. Together, we walk in faith as we welcome what and who is to come with open minds and hearts. Together, we are willing, we are ready now. Thank you, God, and so it is. Please be seated. Reverend Jill is going to come up for our opening prayer.
Good morning. So let me ask you, think we're in the dog days of summer yet? Or are these the puppy days? Pretty hot then, right? Almost old news. Welcome to Unity of Dayton this morning. My name is Reverend Jill Andrews. I live here in South Dayton, and I serve a church in Southeast Columbus, Binghamton, Ohio. So I'm grateful to be here. So today, our affirmation is, I see the goodness of God aglow in the faces of all people. So I'd like you to look around. Just look around at the faces of God here. This is a safe place to look at people, right? And see the glow in their eyes. And let's just take that into our opening prayer, that we invite the light that we are to shine brightly through our eyes as we connect with other people. And we are deep grounded in these truth teachings. And the more that we are attached to the light we are, the more we together and individually light the world. And for this, we are grateful. We say thank you, God. Amen.
Is there anybody joining us today for the very first time? Any new people? Oh, I stand back there. Welcome. Happy to have you. Grab any of us, ask questions. The ushers will give you a welcome packet. And hope you come back and join us again. Thank you. Okay. Well, Reverend Jill already told you who she is, which is just awesome. She's joining us back again today. So we want to thank her and welcome Reverend Jill Andrews. Okay. It is time to stand and sing. God is so faithful.
God is so amazing, shining through you. God is so amazing, shining through you. One look in your eyes to know it's true. God is so amazing, shining through you. God is so amazing, shining through me. God is so amazing, shining through me. One look in my eyes, you can see. So amazing, shining through me. God is so amazing, shining through us. God is so amazing, shining through us. Your heart and my heart, it's the sweetest love. God is so amazing, shining through us. God is so amazing, shining through us. God is so amazing, shining through us. Your heart and my heart is the sweetest love. God is so amazing. God is so amazing. God is so amazing, shining through us. Please be seated.
For Sunday, July 24th is loving. I am a loving, caring presence. Just as the sun shines on everyone and everything, I am a loving presence to everyone I meet. My kind words, welcoming smile, and compassionate actions all spring from the love that is part of my divine identity. Being a loving presence draws me closer to God and to all people. I want to share the love I have known throughout the seasons of my life, at the heights of triumph, of joy, the depths of loss and suffering. God is love, and so am I. No matter who I meet or what they're going through, I am loving. I bring support, kindness, solace, comfort, and share them lavishly without thought of reciprocity. I am the hands and heart of God in the world. And from Romans 13, verse 8, owe no one anything except to love one another, for one who loves another has fulfilled the law. The word is loving today. Stand again, and this time the face of God.
On the face of God, I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. One more time. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. Please be seated. Shine the light into the world. Come on, come on, come on. Shine the light into the world. Let it shine. One by one we plant the seed. We never get to need. We are the very hands of God, reaching down into the world. Shine the light into the world. Come on, come on. Shine the light into the world. Yeah. Shine the light into the world. Christian and education, and waiting for a love revolution. Forever told there is a solution. Now is the shine, put up the shine. There is light in the tragedy, living in the light of humanity. And through the shine, let you breathe out of the shine, put on your shine. Shine the light into the world, yeah. Shine the light into the world. Time and friends, trust unite, fight, brothers and sisters, yeah. Shine the light into the world. Justice for peace, for change in our world. Shine the light into the world. Let it shine. Shine.
Pretty rousing invitation, right? So did everybody get a little token on the way in that you have not eaten yet, right? If you did not get something, raise your hand and Gary will be happy to give you one. I think Gary will be happy too. All right, so everybody's got one. Just wanted to prepare. So I just wanted to tell you today I took a different way here and I kind of went by my old haunts. When I was young, I grew up in Belmont, right across from Immaculate Conception Church. So I drove down Smithville. I lived in a neighborhood I grew up in after that, after fourth grade. But we used to drive from Belmont to Burkhart to go to the Lutheran church down the hill towards Dayton. So I was like, oh, Sunday. So today I must have to go to Frisch's and Xenia afterwards for breakfast. That's what we always did. But anyway, so I drove there to Airway Road and over. So that was nice. So thank you for the music and thank you for your platforming, Christine, and thank you, each of you, for being here today. I appreciate your presence. It makes everything complete, right? Whether you're here or online, we are together. So today I want to share a story by the author Robert Fogan, and you may be familiar with one of his most famous essays, which was Everything I Learned About Life I Learned in Kindergarten. Does that sound familiar? Well, this is a different story. I'm not talking about that. He was a minister, Unitarian minister and an author, and he calculated with some notable exaggeration that in his life so far, and this was a while ago, he has spent 35,000 hours eating, 30,000 hours in traffic getting from one place to another, 2,508 hours brushing his teeth, 870,000 hours just coping with odds and ends and filling out forms, preparing things, paying bills, getting dressed and undressed, and 217,000 hours at work. He says there's not a whole lot left over when you get finished adding and subtracting. The good stuff has to fit in somewhere. which is why I often say it's not the meaning of life, it's the meaning in life. So I venture to say that many of us have attended a class or a lecture where at the end of it, the person that was facilitating it said, "Are there any other questions?" Do you ever remember that? Mm-hmm. And just about then, is this not true? You're done. Like, no, there's no more questions. There haven't been any questions the whole time. I don't have any questions now. So this gesture is supposed to indicate the openness on the part of the speaker, but I suppose if you do not ask the question, both the speaker and the audience, if you do ask the question, both the speaker and the audience will give you kind of drop dead looks, like, are you kidding me? We need to get out of here. And the speaker, if there is a question, most likely the speaker has an answer, and that comes from repeating what he has just said. So Fogan reflects on those opportunities and says if there's little time left and there's a little silence in response to that invitation by his fellow audience members, he usually asks what he considers to be the most important question of all, and that is, what is the meaning of life? Isn't that a great question? Have you ever wondered that for yourself? Mm-hmm. Well, you might find out today. Who knows? So he says, you never know, somebody might have the answer, and he doesn't want to miss the chance of asking that question because he's shy or embarrassed. Perchance they have the answer. So whenever somebody asks, he takes advantage of it, no matter how silly it looks or how absurd it is. And people laugh, the audience members laugh and they nod, they gather up their stuff and they're getting ready to leave. Once and only once, he said, when he asked the question, did he get a serious answer, any kind of answer, really a serious answer, one that is still with him today. So before the big reveal, let me give you some background, particularly about where this happened, because the place that it happened has a power of its own. So in Greece, in the northeast part of Crete, near the village of Gonia, on a rocky bay, sits a Greek Orthodox monastery, and alongside it, where there's land owned by the monastery, is an institute dedicated to human understanding and peace, and especially to rapprochement between the Germans and the Cretans, an improbable task given the bitter residue of wartime from World War II. The site is important because it overlooks the small airstrip at Malini, where Nazi paratroopers invaded Crete and were attacked by peasants from Crete, wielding kitchen knives and scythes. They did whatever they could to protect their homeland. And the retribution was terrible. The entire populations of whole villages in Crete were lined up and shot because they defended their own land against these invaders. Particularly, they were punished for assaulting Hitler's most precious and greatest troops. But high above the institute is a cemetery with a single cross on it that marks a mass grave of all the Cretan villagers who gave their lives in those battles. And across the bay on yet another hill is the regimented burial ground of all the Nazi paratroopers with their headstones lined up in military fashion. What a contrast. The memorials are so placed that all might see and never forget. Hate was the only weapon the Cretans had after the massacre, and hate was a weapon that many would never give up. And I mean never give up. Ever. So against this heavy curtain of history, in this place where the stone of hatred is hard and thick, the existence of an institute devoted to healing the wounds of war is a fragile paradox. And how did it come to be here? According to Fogan, the only reason a place like that could exist was because of one man, and that one man is a native Cretan, Alexander Papadeiros. He's a doctor in philosophy as well as a politician. He was born right there in that same soil. At war's end, he became to believe that the Germans and the Cretans had much to give one another and much to receive and learn from one another, an example to be set. He believed if they could forgive each other and build a lasting, constructive relationship, then this was possible with any peoples who were divided. So when the opportunity presented itself, Robert Fogan signed up for a chance to come to Crete to attend a seminar at the Institute that was led by that living legend by then, Alexander Papaderos. At the end of the 2-week seminar, Papaderos walked to the front of the class, and he stood looking out the open window into the bright Greek sun and gazed across the bay at the iron cross marking that cemetery. He paused, and after a while, he turned back to the participants and looked at the audience and made the ritual gesture. What did he ask? Are there any questions? Well, a hush permeated the room, and those 2 weeks had generated enough questions for a lifetime, but now there was only silence. No questions, Papaderos said as his eyes scanned the room, and Fogan could not contain himself any longer. After all, this may be the time there's an answer. So he asked, Dr. Papaderos, what is the meaning of life? Well, the usual laughter followed that would happen when he would ask that, and people were all stirred up to go. And Papaderos stood up and he held up his hand and stilled the room and looked at Fogan and said, he looked at him for a long time and he connected with his eyes and wanted to see if Fogan was serious. And as usual, people laughed, and again, they were packing up their stuff to go. This was very uncomfortable for people. And Fogan was surprised by what happened next. Papaderos said, sit back down. I will tell you the meaning of life. Sigh. How about sighing for that, right? Woof, here we go, we might learn. So Papaderos said this, when I was a young boy and the Germans invaded our island, there began to exist a line of division between the Cretans and the Germans. As Germany came closer and closer, I watched my older brothers fight, and I watched some of them die. I observed as this imaginary line came closer and closer, and the birds of the air knew nothing about this imaginary line. They flew freely from one country to another. Then one day, I came around the corner and there were the remains of a German motorcycle. I don't know what happened to the German, but his motorcycle was wrecked and the rearview mirror on that motorcycle was smashed to the ground. I picked up the mirror and I tried to put it back together again. When I realized I could not put the mirror back together again, I took the largest jagged piece of mirror and I sanded it with a rough rock until it became a perfect sphere. I created a childish game that involved holding my mirror and getting the light to reflect off it and shine into dark places. And I got really good at shining light to crevices and very dark places. When I learned how to hold the mirror just right, I could shine my light back into any dark place. I kept the little mirror, and as I was growing up, I would take it out in idle moments and continue the challenge of the game. As I became a man, I grew to understand that this was not just a child's game, but a metaphor for what I might do with my life. I came to understand that I am not the light or the source of the light, but light, truth, understanding, knowledge is there, and it will only shine in the many dark places if I reflect it. I am a fragment of a mirror whose whole design and shape I do not know. Nevertheless, with what I have, I can reflect light into the dark places of this world, into the black spaces in the hearts of men, and change some things in people. Perhaps others may see and do likewise. This is what I'm about. This is the meaning of my life. Then Papaderos looked around the room and said, I came to realize that every one of us is a fragment of a mirror whose size and shape we do not know. But as a fragment of that mirror, we are essential to its wholeness. Papaderos then reached for his wallet. This is a facsimile. And pulled out the mirror. And carefully, the light reflected off the mirror, and a beam landed right on Fulgham's hands. He walked over and handed Fulgham the mirror and said, now you go and tell the world this story. And that's what Fogan has done. Fogan also continues to support that monastery with, I learned this morning, I was looking it up. He created it's called The Light. It's a library of theological periodicals from all over the world. So, and he has a home there, but he is spreading that light. So when you hold this, you know that to be true. Each of us, as unique as a thumbprint, are a fragment of something that is immense and internal. We didn't create ourselves. We have been breathed into existence by this incredible sacred immensity called life. And life is seeking a freer, fuller expression in each of us, and by means of itself. It just allows us to awaken to that and to take action. That means right where we are, something great is seeking to happen. It comes to us first through ideas and dreams, and if we stay true to our light, it will influence not only our lives, but others. So in our individual and collective lives, we've experienced something, I'm sure, that has caught us off guard and perhaps had us questioning the meaning of life. Has that ever happened? You know, we can go back many years, but the last 3 years have probably provided us with plenty of things. A couple weeks even, right? Take a moment and think about it. Has there been a pivotal point, a pivotal event that you remember that just struck you between the eyes? There could be a couple, but caused you to wonder, what's it all mean? What's it all about, Alfie? Has there been an event that stands out in the world that you know has changed you and others? And for that moment, can you vividly remember where you were, what you were thinking, how it impacted you, the emotions of the day? Even though I have some strong contenders, I have one that's specific. So this is a participation part. You just have to name it. Anybody want to share what that pivotal point might be in their life? Oh, now see, they're quiet. Are there any questions? All right. I'm not going to go over the last 2 weeks, but I'm going to go back to, for me, September 11th, 2001. Pivotal. I mean, I have some in the last couple months too, but this, where I just sat there and was drained when I heard some news. But I think we all, if we were here, and even if we weren't here, wherever we were in the world, remember that moment we found out about it, however that was, however it was. I'm not going to share my moment, but the day involved, that mine happened early. I was in the Central Time Zone. It happened early. And my whole day, it was just shocking. And I remember I lived in Chicago, and I lived 25 miles across town from the church, from Unity Church, and I had a meeting. We went to the meeting, but I went across town, and I live northwest of Chicago, where it's the flight pattern for O'Hare. It's always busy with planes, right? Nothing. Fluffy clouds, blue sky, just quiet. Awe. It was awesome in the quietness of it. I stopped at a grocery store, and it was like everybody was in slow motion, right? And in grief, in shock. Like there wasn't any meanness, but there just wasn't anything. We were all just in shock. So we all have some memory of that day and then how it unfolded. So maybe you remember some of it. We'd have reports of the people. I remember that there would be, and now this is common, but shopkeepers with masks sweeping up stuff in front, right, of their shops, trying to reconstruct a shop so they could stay in business. Rubble, 10 stories high, just all of the events. Firemen on the street by falling people, buildings continuing to collapse, and then images of bravery and hope. And I think in all of us, wasn't there some bit of hope for something better, and some coming together, and that hush across the land, and that tentativeness of how to proceed impacted us all. So today, whatever your issue is, whatever your thing that caused you to say, what's the meaning of life, and how you might have corrected or changed or done it differently, but just remember that there are times you can even go back to that time where you did question that, and see what your answer was, see what your feelings were, see how humble you were to understand that. And then sometimes, somewhere we get caught up in the busyness of life. And, I'd say the last 10 years at least, we collected as a nation, got in the busyness of life and became mean somewhat. We aren't all the kindness that we certainly demonstrated after 9/11. So we can be that light anywhere we are. We can change the situation in any place. We can shift the person we're in front of from a sad day to a happy day, just by our attitude. And so many people that we're dealing with are having a bad day, and you can be the light that has their eyes twinkling or them smiling just by being kind and listening or sharing with them. So I'm going to share what Jesus said to his followers that might be of interest to you. It's from the book of Matthew. Let me tell you why you're here. You are here to be salt seasoning that brings out the God flavors of this earth. If you lose your saltiness, how will people taste godliness? You've lost your usefulness, and then you will end up in the garbage. This is a contemporary version. More meaningful. Here's another way to put it. You are here to be light, bringing out the God colors in the world. God is not a secret to be kept. We are going public with this, as public as a city on a hill. If I make you light bearers, you don't think I'm going to hide you under a bucket, do you? I'm putting you out on a light stand. Now that I've put you there on that hilltop, on a light stand, shine. Just like our rousing song, shine. Keep open house. Be generous with your lives. By opening up to others, you will prompt people to open up with God, this generous Father in heaven. You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hid. No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it under the bushel basket, but on the lampstand, and gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven. Let your light shine. So let's keep this simple. We are the light of the world, each of us. We are all fragments of the whole. Together we reflect the light of God, expressing in each and every one of us to the world, and we're here to make a difference. And we make differences in our own unique ways. That's ours to discover. Our light is there to illumine the way, to make the dark places light, to inspire, to reveal, to heal, just like our songs this morning, to bring unity. We have a responsibility to bring light to the world, to your life, to others. The light of the Christ is in you. I know it is true. I see it, because each of us, are faces of God. We are our own unique expressions of God. Can you believe that? Can you remember that? Now, the trick is, when you're in a snit fit, can you remember they're the face of God, even the person that cut you off in traffic or is mean to you at the grocery? You are the face of God, right? All right. So back here are 4 candles, and one is lit. And the candles represent peace. When there is war or disharmony, this candle is extinguished. Love is the illusion of fear, the threat of terror. It feels so easy to hate, but we have love in our hearts. Faith, with all the conditions of the world, we have faith. And the one that is lit is hope, because it is possible that each of these others can be reignited by our consciousness, by our willingness. So I light, peace, love, faith. To join hope and the Christ candle that we all are. So I invite you to hold your memory of this meaning of life morsel, the mirror, in your hands as we prepare for a time of meditation, of connecting with our source. We've lit those candles of peace and love, of hope and faith. And I invite you to get comfortable where you are. And what this mirror represents is the meaning of life and the light you are, that you are here to shine the light, to illuminate others, that you are the light. It's a recognition that you are the light. So that might be heavy news today, so we're going to breathe into that. So I invite you to get settled in your seats and just breathe in. Take a deep inhale and then hold it for a moment and let it go. And know that this is a responsibility, but God is right here by our sides, and so is everybody in this room, in the universe, actually. But we each contribute in our own way as the light of the world. So nobody's telling you how you contribute, how you bring light on a situation or a person, or how you bring light into your own life. That is for you to discover. But light leads the way. We embrace the love that we are, the peace that we are, the faith that we are, and we have light. We know that our light is here to share. So let this mirror remind you of your light as you connect with Source in the silence. So as we come back to this time and place, I invite you to get comfortable, just feeling your body re-inhabiting this earthly plane. And realize that you are the light of the world. Let these words be yours. I am the light of the world. Will you say that with me? I am the light of the world. And I let my light shine before others so that they may know their truth as well. And so it is. Amen.
So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God. I find myself.
And now as we return to this time and this place, take your offerings, your tithes, your offerings in your hand. Hold them between your hands. If you gave electronically, hold it in your mind. As we say together our offering prayer, divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, Gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 The ushers come forward with the bags. Reverend Jill will bless and receive our offering.
So let's take a moment and appreciate the flow of prosperity that moves through our lives. Not only do we give, we receive, and it just is an endless cycle. So we are so grateful for what we are able to receive and give to support this spiritual community. So we say thank you, God, for this abundance. Amen.
Thank you. We have many, many transitional opportunities, and we're going to run through a couple of them right now. Coming up on Sunday, August 21st, Reverend Linda Ketchum will present a forgiveness workshop. Kind of goes right along with everything we heard today. I believe her footnote on that is forgiving is the best thing you can ever do for yourself. And it's on August 21st at 12:30. Now, the fee for that is $25. However, if you come as a couple, it's $20 a piece. Any two people can be a couple. Any two people want to sign up together. Reverend Linda will be here early in August, and she'll give you a lot more information. There's also information out on the table concerning this. Unity has a new compassion and care team. They send cards to the ill and bereaved, and they do phone call checkups. If you're aware of somebody who would use a check-in or a card or some kind of conversation, there's a form in the back of the chairs. Just fill it out, give it to the ushers, and our prayer team or our compassion team will contact them. If you're interested in being a part of this team, Joanne in the back corner over there would love to talk to you. And there's also a sign-up sheet out on the table. And in speaking in terms of prayer, we have Silent Unity, and we have our own prayer team here. And there's forms in the back of each of the chairs. If you have a prayer request, an intention, something you want us to hold in prayer with you, just fill out the form. Either put it in the bag as the ushers pass or give it to an usher. We have a prayer box up here. Our prayer team will hold that prayer with you for 30 days, then send it to Silent Unity at Unity Village, and they will hold it for prayer for another 30 days. An awesome option, and prayer works miracles. Silent Unity prays 24/7. Round the clock. It's been doing it for over 100 years. Okay. If you don't receive our weekly newsletter and you haven't signed up for it yet, there's forms out on the table. There's forms on the table that will tell you about absolutely everything that's going on around here right now. There's also a really great calendar that Morgan has made. She does it every month, and it lists everything that's happening, the times and the dates. Pick up a copy and put it on your refrigerator so you've always got a reference as to what's going on. Because we've got the things like the monthly drumming circle. We've got our Reiki every month. And if you were here this month, actually, for Reiki, you know that Eden Foster did a sound bath with that. She's coming back again the 7th of August, and she's going to do the sound bath with Reiki again. You'll want to plan for that. It's a very, very special experience. Reverend Chase is leading a weekly telephone prayer time. It's every Tuesday at 9 a.m., holding our vision, the church vision prayer, but also anyone and everyone is invited. You can join any Tuesday you want to. The phone number, again, is out on the table in the lobby. Or you can pick up the phone number on Facebook, our weekly newsletter. Our website also has the calendar and everything going on, too. Our website just has a wealth of information for anything you want to know. So, that will be it for today. Like I said, check the table out there. There's really a lot going on, a lot of information. We don't want to keep throwing it at you every week, the same thing over and over again. So we have Venus Rising, we have women's group, we have a men's group that's getting started back up again. So check it out and see what all is going on. And let's end. We are going to say goodbye to the people online, and we're going to follow along with the light leading the way and remind everybody that you are the light of the world.